the end loop or the overhand end loop. Nope, it's made, or what's called one of the most foundational knots is the overhand knot. There are plenty of other knots that are based on the overhand knot and might even have multiple overhand knots in them. One of them is the square knot, which is just two overhand knots that oppose each other. One of the knots that we teach at Valiant Outfitters as the 3 knots that you need for survival. There are plenty other knots that you should know, but if you know these 3 knots, then you stand a pretty good chance of survival if you can master them. This one is called the overhand loop, or what I call the overhand end loop. And it's very easy to tie. You can tie it in really adverse conditions. It can be raining, freezing rain, cold, you have gloves on. Well, it doesn't take much dexterity, so when your ability to use those fine motor skills is really deteriorated, this is a knot that's very helpful. You make it with a bite. And remember, a bite is just when you double the cordage back on itself. This is a loop. When it comes back, it crosses over. This one, it just doubles back. And you take that loop and you wrap it back around. And I do it by coming around a finger, and that makes a hole in there that I can then feed that loop through. And it makes an overhand knot, but it has that loop on it. Let me untie this and I'm going to show you again. I'm going to make a bite that comes back around on itself, and I'm going to wrap that loop around my finger and feed that loop through the hole that I've made. Dress it up a bit, and there you have it. Now, what do I use this for most commonly? Is if I need to get up a static end of a ridge line quickly. When you're setting up a ridge line, you need to have an end that you can get up onto your tree or your pole or whatever you're going to do, and it stays there. And then you can go and work on your other end and do a tightening end. So this static end I'm going to put on there, it stays there, and it needs to stay so that it doesn't fall down off of the tree. And this is what I do. I take that loop and I wrap it around the tree, and then I feed my cordage back through it and cinch it down tight. And that's going to stay. Now, it's not the most secure static end, but as I said, this is a really good knot if you're in a hurry or your fine motor skills have been starting to deteriorate. This will get you up there and it will give you that static end. Then I can take that other end and go to where I'm going to do my tightening knot. Let's undo this, and I'm going to take it right from the beginning again. We're going to make the end loop, and then we're going to put up our static end of our ridge line. So I've undone my cordage, my bite, wrap it around, and make that overhand knot, pull it tight so I have that loop. Wrap that around my tree for my static end, pull my cordage through, cinch it down tight. Now here's a trick to save you even some more time. Some people will store their cordage with that loop in there, with that overhand loop or overhand end loop in there. And remember, when we store this and we've done our stacking so that we know there aren't any knots and it's laying the way it should. Well, remember when we did our wrap for storage, I just took my hand and I laid that out there. Well, let's do that with that loop end. And then there we go. I'm going to wrap this way. Leave enough to wrap it up. Grab it. Wrap. Tuck it in there. And now when I want to deploy, I've got that loop ready to go. And this is what I can do when I have that ready to go, is I just pull enough of it out to wrap it around the tree, run the rest of my cordage in through there, cinch it down tight, and then I take that and I work it off and just walk over to my tightening end. So there you go. The simple, humble, very useful overhand loop or overhand end loop. Get outside this weekend, use it to set up the tarp for your hammock, use it to just practice, but whatever you do, get outside this weekend. Thanks for joining me for another Wilderness Wednesday.